Hi, welcome to another edition of Resonate with Edgehill and Davis. I'm Owen Edgehill.
And I'm David Davis. How goes it?
Good. How are you?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Maybe we need to say something better or something different than good.
We don't always, do we?
Yeah, we always say we're good.
There's a couple
How you
of-
doing?
I know
Yeah,
there's
I'm
a-
good.
there's-
I'm
I
good.
know,
I'm
I
good.
know there's a couple of times you can, it's up and down, but that's life and all of that.
Have you heard of a guy called Les Brown?
No.
He's like
James Brown, but not Les Brown.
Right. Well, he looks like James Brown, actually. He's one of those American gurus, and he always says that there's a woman that he knows or knew, and every time he said to her, "How you doing?" she'd always say, "I'm better than good.
Better than good.
I'm better than good." Even if she weren't, you know what I mean? Better than good. That's what she'd say. I'm better than good.
What does better than good mean?
Better than good.
What's it mean?
For me, it means you mean you're better than good. You're better than saying that you're good. Right, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
But she's better than that.
And then somebody says,
But
I'm
she's
better than that.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was cool, that. I'm better than good.
Okay.
Hi to everybody out there. Hope all's well with you. Good to see you again.
Yeah. Hope you're better than good as good.
Good as good or better than good?
Better than good, whatever.
Cool. Here we are again. Back in
Yeah.
the studio.
Back in.
Back in the studio, man.
Wanna kind of empower our audience, basically.
By the way, thank you for the feedback and the comments that you've given us recently, most recently, the last episode on the Lottery of Life. Been really, really good, so thank you for that. Keep them coming. Really good, D. Okay, D. Okay, everyone. Want to have a conversation with you and yourselves about regret or regrets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of people, the vast majority of people, tiptoe through life safely making it to death. So you imagine that, somebody tiptoeing through life, oh, I don't want to do this, oh, I don't want to do that. But the direction they're going to, eventually, is death, right? So most people, to one degree or another, and I'm in that bracket, if we don't get to a point in our lives and we're on our deathbed, there comes a point where we're going to have a lot of regrets. So things that we didn't do, the things that we didn't say, things that we should have done, things that we should have said. Mm-hmm. It gets to a point where we have a lot of regrets. So, and there is a book that I'm going to put on the chat, very, very interesting book about this same thing. And one of the most regrets most people, the vast majority of people have on their deathbed, is that they've never told a person what they really thought. Now, what they really thought, whether it's in a negative fashion, you know, I hate you or whatever, or in a positive fashion, do you know what, I really loved you, or I really, really like you, or I really, really appreciated you. So I want to have a conversation with you and everyone in terms of, at this moment in time, do you have any regrets at this moment in time? And if you do, and it'd be great for you to share it, if you do, what are you going to do about it? Because if you don't do anything about it, connected it with what I've just said, when you get to the end, you're going to regret it. You've touched on it slightly in previous episodes where you've said to people, you know, pick the phone up and speak to someone and just tell them that you know, say that you're all right, or ask them if they're all right. You touched on that. But on a higher level, a lot of us go through life not really saying what we really want to say.
Or doing.
Or doing what we really want to do. Mm-hmm. So my question to you, or my conversation that I want to have with you yourselves is, what's your take on it? What's your take on regrets?
Funny you mentioned kind of that regret and deathbed. I watched a film last week, and this guy adored this woman, adored her, and kind of followed her everywhere. Eventually, long story short, he married her. But he was so into his job. He was a scientist, so into his job, and he said to his wife, I want to make the world a kind of a better place. And he'd lost focus with her. So of course she has an affair. He finds out about the affair. She doesn't realise he knows about the affair, so she continues with the affair. And then the guy that she has the affair with, again, a long story, he says to her, listen, I'm not serious, it's just fun, we're having fun here, because she's starting to fall in love with this guy.
Right.
Anyway, the husband finds out, and he says, right, we're going to go to the deepest part of Africa, where there's so many diseases going off there. But he said, I want to be there to kind of help these people. And she said, what, you expect me to go in that disease-ridden place? She said, yeah, you're my wife. Of course you will. So eventually she went. I said, it's a long story. She went, but he just treated her like terribly, really bad. And that narcissistic way came out with him. She was then lonely in the middle of India or Africa. I can't remember if it was India or Africa. It was India, actually. And he basically just left her for days on end. And she thought, you know what? This is the life he wants me to live, but I'm going to get up, I'm going to do something. So she started to work for the school that he was working in the vicinity. She started to work for the school with a load of nuns. And the nuns kind of took her in and said, well, what can you do? She said, well, I don't know. She can play the piano. So she helped teaching the kids how to play the piano and everything. And as life turned around, he caught malaria. And he could see the transformation in her, and his hate for her because she was having the affair. Though he loved her, the hate for her because of the affair started to kind of dwindle, and the love started to portray again because he could see she's being the person that he believed that she was. And she started to love him more as well. And because they were in such dire straits together, but they were doing something to save a community of people, they came together so much more closely. But because he got malaria, again, long story, on his deathbed, he said, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And then he died. So when you kind of mentioned on your deathbed, because he regretted treating her the way he treated her.
Right.
So that's the way that I made that point.
No, good point.
So I hope kind of people can understand that. To my level, regret's it's a big thing.
It really is a big thing.
It's huge. And yeah, we all go through life regretting something, whether it be little, whether it be small. And I can say, do I regret living the life that I've lived? There's an aspect that tells me yes, but there's another aspect that says no, because I think I've got a relatively good life. There's no kind of extreme dramas with it.
But it doesn't have to be an extreme drama, D. It could just be regret, though, couldn't it?
I'm just an average person.
Right.
So, and you're right, there doesn't have to be an extreme drama. But I look back and I think, do I actually regret anything? It's such a difficult subject as well, because I could tell you here, sitting here and now, I'd have to dig deep to say I've regretted something, because here I am, whatever I've done, it's made me the person I am today.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and I can dig that, but the strap line is, don't have any regrets. If you have gotten a regret, if you've gotten a regret, then we need to do something about it now. Now, it might be something in the past where we needed to speak to someone about a regret and that person is no longer here, right? It could be in that situation, but if we can use that as an example...
Well, there's my regret then.
Right.
There is that, you've kind of brought my regret to my attention. And my regret is I didn't have, knowing what I know now, I didn't have the relationship I would have loved to have had with my mum and my dad.
Right.
I didn't tell them I loved them.
Right. What was the reason for that?
It just wasn't in my forte. It wasn't in my mind to say I love you. You kind of, those type of things, regrettably, you take for granted that they know that you love them and vice versa.
Right.
And maybe, and I think it's probably a different generation as well of people.
You've got that in there as well, yeah.
Because my dad would never have, Dad, I love you. No, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
Whereas look at the generation now,
Yeah.
I say to my son, I love you.
Right.
I know he says to his children, I love you. Likewise with my daughter. But my dad would never, ever have said that. My mum may have said it. She may have. But I know I had so much love from them.
Right.
But it was never a said thing.
Right.
So that side of the relationship, I just wished I was able to have said. Because you know, some of the audience may know, my mum died and I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was in the military serving in another country.
Right.
And was not aware of it until after the event. Do I regret not being there? Of course I regret not being there. Just to say those words, I love you. But because I have that deep connection with them today, maybe that probably didn't spring to mind straight away.
Right.
It's just that you mentioned it.
Right.
But yeah, there's an element, that's a big regret in my life.
And has that now set up something in you to make you think that going forward, I need to, whatever the situation is, to either to tell somebody that you love them or even to tell somebody that you hate them. I know that hate's a strong word, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To tell that person
It set me up,
how
for
it
sure.
made you feel.
It set me up for sure.
Right. And so do you find yourself doing that now?
I find myself doing it in little ways. For instance, in my relationship with my wife now,
Right.
married previously,
Yeah.
there are certain things I could have possibly said in my previous relationship with my wife
Right.
that I now say with my wife presently.
Right.
Because maybe I wouldn't have been divorced if I'd have said certain things or done certain things.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I say things in a much more different way, so it's more of a communication that we understand, rather than thinking, well, they know what I mean, I don't have to say that. I think they know exactly what I mean,
Right.
when they don't really know what you mean.
No.
Until you actually say it.
Right. All right, so that's that aspect. Be great to get your views as well. That's that aspect. But what about just goals in general? We were talking off air about certain goals. Mm-hmm. What about goals in general then? Things that, you want to do, but, I don't know whether it's procrastination or things getting in the way of it, that you're not doing, that even now you can look back and you can think to yourself, do you know what, really, I should be doing that. And I'm not saying you personally, but anyone, D, myself as well, if we get to that point where there are things that we think that we need to be doing, we need to do them. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't work out, we need to do them, because then when we get to that point, deathbed, we won't have that regret, as in like, I wish I would have tried that, or I wish I would have said that, or I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have gone there, or I wish I would have, whatever. We won't get to that point. And there was a lovely phrase that I've heard many, many years ago, and it's always stuck with me. We mustn't go to our graves with the music still in us. In other words, we need to wear ourselves out to the point that when we're going, it's
like,
yeah, thank God,
yeah,
I'm going.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm
as
ready.
opposed to, I don't really want to go yet, and I've still got it within me to do something, but physically I can't do it. That's when we get that regret. And I think that is the key, to be in that situation where, and I know life's life, it's up and down, and people have got things going on, we've all got things going on that get in the way of this kind of conversation. But I think, and this is why I brought it up, Dee, for everyone, and myself as well, I think that unless we're conscious of time, we're conscious of that word regret, but not looking at it in a negative way or a depressive way, but looking at it in awareness to say, are there things at this moment in time that I need to do, that I need to say? Because time's ticking on. And if we don't get to that point, as you mentioned, if we don't get to that point where we actually say it or we actually do it, that's when we're in real heartache, I believe, in that point where we're at such an age now, or we're at that that low level health, that we can't do the things that we want to do, but we wish we could have done them. We wish that we could have actually made it happen. So my question to everyone would be, if you've got any regrets, what are you doing about that regret? Now, whether it's something that has gone that you can't actually put right, because as you mentioned in your example, your parents have passed, God rest their soul. But if it's something that you can do in the now that you're not doing, it's key that we do it.
It's important. It's important. I mean, it could well be that you are in a situation where you're in a job that you don't want to be in, but you stay there because it's paying the bills, it's comfortable, but you've got this passion to do something else.
Right.
And that passion could be painting, it could be writing a novel, it could be absolutely anything, because a passion is a passion, and it's something that's within you.
Right.
But you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. And Owen hit the nail on the head. Time. Time doesn't give us the opportunity. It doesn't say, hang on, I'll just sit back and just relax. Well, you do what you want to do. You procrastinate or you stay in that job. It will happen. It won't happen. It won't happen that way. You've got to get up and think, I want to write this book.
Yeah.
So get out there, get up there, go somewhere where it's peace, quiet, and start writing. Because once you start, if it's a passion, you're not going to stop. We had a passion to start a podcast, and you can procrastinate. You go, yeah, but we need to get the equipment. We need to get this. We haven't got the expertise, the technical expertise, and we haven't got where the place to go, or all of these things. And we could have been here. We're now how many episodes in? Can't remember.
21.
You remember these? 21 episodes in. Yeah. And the idea started literally just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Less than a year.
Less than a year
Less
ago.
than a year ago. The idea.
Yeah.
And if we didn't grasp the opportunity and move on and get this podcast, we would not be 21 podcasts in.
But I'll tell you what would happen. It would get to a point where that goal or dream to do what we're doing would be gone, and then we would be in the state of regret. Do you know what? We should have done that. I did something a couple of weeks ago where there is such a thing called...
And that's not ego, by the way.
No, it's not. No.
Because we want to get a message out to people.
You're right.
And we would not be getting that message out to people.
Correct. There's such a thing called that still, small voice within us. We've all got that. We can all listen when something inside us says to us that we shouldn't be doing something or we should be doing something. They call it the still, small voice, D, right? And something came up for me, I'm not going to go into it, but something came up for me a couple of weeks ago where that still, small voice got into my head and said, Owen, what are you doing? You need to change this. You need to do something about it, right? And as difficult as it was to think, right, I've got to break away from that particular thing, I did it. And so I know that when I look back in maybe a few years' time on that particular situation, I'm not going to have any regrets, Steve. As much as it might have been a little bit difficult, not say difficult, a bit of anxiety around it, maybe a little bit of that. But I knew that when you get that still small voice in your mind saying to you, You need to change what you have to change, and you need to do what you. If you don't act on it, that's when you're being regret, and that's the key. So I'm trying to practice what I preach in this situation without preaching.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? That's what we've got to do. So if any of you are in a situation at this moment in time where you're thinking, as Dee said, I don't know, you're changing a hobby, you're changing your job, you might be even changing your relationship,
Yeah.
business, platonic or romantic, changing your health, or do it. That would be my thing to do. Do it. Before you get to that point where you can't do it.
Yeah.
And then you're in regret, and then it's like it's too late. So don't be like the majority, in other words, tiptoeing through life, safely making it to death. Anything that you have to do is there's always gonna be a bit of anxiety around it. Oh, should I do this? Should I do that? People might say, no, you shouldn't do it and everything. There's always going to be all that.
There's always.
Yeah, but if you in your own mind think to yourself, do you know what? And I'm doing it for the right reasons. I want to do it for the right reasons. Then I would implore you to do it, because then you'll have no regrets, D. And that's the key. To have no regrets, or as little regrets as possible.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. You're just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
That's also a key, isn't it?
Without
being
a doubt.
honest with yourself.
Without a doubt. But there are a lot of people out there, D, and I include myself back in the day, and you mentioned it in connection with your previous marriage and everything. There was things that you're saying now that you didn't say previously, and who knows, you could have been still in that situation. And that is the key, isn't it? It's being in that situation where we're thinking, even though we might not have the words to say it, or we might feel uncomfortable to say what we need to say to that person or whoever, we just need to say it because it's crucial. It really is crucial to
Time's running out.
Yeah.
Time is running out.
Yeah. It's crucial for our emotional, mental, spiritual and psychological well-being, D, to actually do it. So to bring this thing down for a landing, I'm getting to the point now where in my life I'm becoming more consciously aware of that word regret, and trying as best as I can to not have any regrets. And that's not to say that it's all going to work out like that, but I think if we're conscious of it, if we're conscious of not having any regrets,
it is impossible. It is practically impossible not to have any regrets whatsoever. Any.
You really think so?
Oh yeah.
Practically impossible
to have any regrets. There's going to always, like you said, it could be just the minute little thing. But,
excuse me.
But if you're conscious, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, as long as you're conscious not to have any regrets, well then the less regrets you're going to have.
Because you'll do something about it, won't you?
Yeah.
Or you'll try to do something about it, and that's key.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's it for me, D. You want to say a few words as usual?
Yeah, on that particular note especially, and I know I've said it before, but please, this particular episode is about regret. And if there's someone in your life that you feel you've not spoken to for a while, or you felt estranged with for whatever reason, but you dearly miss them, or you want to hear their voice, or you want them to know you're thinking about them, pick up the phone. Don't send a text. Pick up the phone, give them a call. Honestly, you'll probably make their day. So don't be worried about it. Don't have that regret.
Yeah, I'd echo that without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And not only that, it could be someone that you're in contact with, that you like that person, but you're not telling them that you like that you like them. It could be something like that.
Don't have that regret.
Don't have that regret.
Yeah.
It could be something that you want to do in your life, to change your life. Don't have that regret.
Yeah. So even if it's a matter of just, as I always say, like this video, subscribe to this video, share this particular video, and if it's this particular episode you want to share to that person in your life,
good point.
Please share it. For me, it's a goodbye.
Be seeing you.